Welcome back to Red Avocados, episode 31. Today we're throwing it back. We're giving you one of our personal favorite movies, Captain America, The Winter Soldier. And there's really nothing else I can preface this with. Let's get into it, see what this thing was about.
Daydream, I fell asleep amid the flowers for a couple of hours on a beautiful day. Daydream.
Captain America Winter Soldier, it's the sequel to Captain America the First Avenger, which was one of the worst Marvel movies they made, but that's for another day. This follows up with Steve Rogers in present day, and basically it's a battle between Steve Rogers and Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier, who was his best friend that presumably died in the first movie. But anyone who knows the comics or anything about the lore around Captain America and the Winter Soldier know that Bucky Barnes actually lived, and Hydra took Bucky Barnes in and made him into this superhero or super anti-hero Winter Soldier, who is a Hydra agent that they send out when they need someone killed and a job done, and he does it very efficiently. He's a fucking badass in this movie, and it's kind of sad this is pretty much the last time we get a badass Winter Soldier. But yeah, it basically, Steve Rogers is trying to unroot Hydra, because Hydra has embedded themselves into S.H.I.E.L.D., into world governments, into the fucking DC police force. And basically Steve Rogers ends up winning the day. But the end of the movie, Bucky Barnes actually saves Steve Rogers after Steve kind of, repeats that old line. He says, I'm with you to the end of the line. Yep. And, it's just a beautiful story at the end.
It's heartwarming.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is one of the OG Marvel movies, I would say. And you can definitely feel the lore watching this, in my opinion, versus one of the newer pieces of work that they have. And that includes the good and the bad things. Like, there were a lot of noticeable... I don't remember watching it the first time, but there's just so many cheesy one-liners that they throw in there.
Oh, yeah.
And also... They kind of fire you up.
Oh, for sure. And also watching it back, I was like, was the CGI this bad the first time around? But maybe it wasn't up to the level of like Endgame and Infinity War, and that's what's ingrained in my brain at times. But I mean, this movie stands the test of time for sure. It's a fucking classic. I love it.
So you thought it still held up?
Oh, for sure.
Last time you saw it? Yeah,
for sure.
I did as well. Where do you want to go? What do you want to talk about first? I think we should probably touch on the cinematography and all the action scenes that are
incredible.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, dude, the fight in the DC streets between Bucky Barnes and then Black Widow, Falcon, and Captain America is elite. Like, starting with Bucky just yanking that one dude out of the car, throwing him into like first of all, so many people died in this movie. I forgot Marvel movies allowed this type of like on-screen killing.
If they're Nazis, it's totally valid.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
fuck them. I mean, I guess Thanos also did snap away half the universe, but whatever. But yeah, no, the fight scene in the streets, especially between the Winter Soldier and Captain America, when Bucky Barnes does that fucking knife flip, I want to jizz every time. I mean,
Jesus Christ.
It's so good. Like, the choreography in this movie, the fighting choreography is incredible. I love it.
You do have a point. They spent the utmost amount of time focusing on all of those fighting details. and then they really just didn't give a shit about the actual dialogue when they weren't fighting, but it is all choreographed really well. And I also want to point out how the bad guys in this movie, I think, are really good bad guys in the way that they they don't they don't like create room for plot holes. It seems like whenever they're in the area of the protagonist, they're just opening fire. Like,
Oh yeah.
there's like 10 guys just constantly shooting AKs at our heroes in this movie. And they don't ever let up, you know? So
No.
I thought that
literally
was
in that
kinda cool.
street fight scene when the guy has a minigun and he's just spraying down Cap for like
Yeah.
like there were innocent people in that bus and that man just like went on a 10 kill streak just spraying that.
Yeah, even Nick Fury. I mean, some call him like the hidden Avenger, but I don't think he requires 30 people to apprehend, but he ends up getting away from all of these people, even
Dude,
though they unload probably 1,000 rounds at him in front of like a Starbucks. But
Yeah, imagine
fine.
waiting for your coffee and you look outside and Samuel L. Jackson is holding a minigun out of his car and a stray bullet catches you as you're picking
Yeah.
up your white mocha iced tea.
some of the
Iced coffee.
police response times were pretty crazy too. I get that Hydra like took over the DC police force, but there had to have been some good cops remaining that would have probably heard through the radios like all of this gunfire going on, but nonetheless it still plays. It's not overly stupid in any way. I mean, it's a Captain America movie. The dude is wearing tights and he has a shield that's red, white, and blue, and he's like running around beating up armed tactical mercenaries or whatever you want to call them. So
Yeah. Well, dude, also I'm glad you brought that up because for one, the Nick Fury scene in the beginning when he's in the car, that scene's sick. That's
Yeah,
another
it
scene
is.
that gets me bricked up. Just the car chase scene, him timing the like breaking of the window with the shooting of the Gatling gun he's got installed in his car. But then also the Cap suit. I fucking hate that red blue suit. The like black suit he has at the beginning when they're on the mission or like throughout most of the movie. That shit is so sick. That's like the best version of Cap. I'm just glazing like
yeah.
this is a
You're-
glaze fest.
Your incognito history is just like normal people are like Pornhub, you know, whatever your cup of tea is, and Sean's is like Captain America 2
Yeah.
costumes, like Steve Rogers cosplay costumes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, but nonetheless, I do love this movie too. I guess we can get off cinematography a little bit. I did notice too that the music is kind of a little much at times in this movie. They play the sound effect. It's not even necessarily the music, but the sound effects are almost like 1 or 2 decibels too loud at some points. Like you just can't make out some of the lines they're saying. And I don't know if you really have to know what they're saying, but
Nah, fuck it.
it's
You're either
kinda
watching Captain America be a badass or you're entranced by Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow.
yeah, it's kind of like it's one of those scenes where Robin from How I Met Your Mother is I don't know, mansplaining something to Steve Rogers, and they're just blasting like a song you would hear at Urban Outfitters. You can't really get the last couple words she gets across. And then you really could cut most of these scenes anyways, like I said, so I just don't really think it matters, but I would knock cinematography a little bit because of how like hard it is to hear at times. But
I definitely get what you're saying, but on the flip side, I kind of loved all the like loud ass sound effects things we're making, especially Bucky's arm, the
Yeah.
mechanical sounds it makes when he's just like when he's just fucking like flexing and shit or just like straightening his arm out. It's pretty dope.
Yeah.
When he like turns around and catches Cap's shield. God, dude, so many good scenes in this movie.
The
whole movie's
camera
great.
work is good. The camera work's really good, especially in that bridge scene. They do a good job of just showing like. I really do like the scene where Natasha's falling off the bridge and she grapples and like
Yeah.
swings under it as it explodes behind her. That scene is really cool. And then Oh, what was the other one I was going to talk about? Oh yeah, and then he's kind of chasing her just with that grenade launcher or whatever, and it shows like an explosion, and the camera just pans, and it's him like reloading it. It's
Yeah.
so sick, and you can save money on that too. Like all you have to do is construct like a CGI scene of an explosion, and then you just pan the camera. Like it's definitely him just in the costume. or
No,
whatever. So
they
it
they were
looks
actually
well
blowing up cars in the middle of DC.
Yeah. I knew it
You're
looked
like you're
real,
you're
yeah.
walking back from work to your car and it just explodes. Oh, dude, I would
Yeah,
be
I
so
had a friend.
pissed.
I had a friend who was an extra on Winter Soldier, and he died
Died.
mysteriously in 2014. Yeah, I haven't seen him since. He was filming something on the highway.
All right, one of the things I wanted to bring up was at the beginning of the movie, Steve Rogers is absolutely lapping Sam Wilson, and at the end of their run, they kind of connect a little bit, and Steve pulls out a notebook and a pencil that he was running with. And it has a list of things that he has to try now or do or go see. So on that list, he had I Love Lucy, Moon Landing, Berlin Wall, Steve Jobs, Disco, Thai food, Star Wars, Star Trek, Nirvana, Rocky, and Trouble Man by Marvin Gaye. What would you add to that list that Steve Rogers needs to see?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say what would you take off? What would I add? 9/11. No, I don't know.
Dude, that's exactly what I thought. Like, that man has to know about that. Like, what? Go
Yeah, I
get those
don't
motherfuckers, Steve.
Yeah.
I personally would add the Rizzler. I think he needs to
Yeah.
he needs to know about boom.
TikTok.
Boom. Imagine a Captain America and Rizzler collab.
No. He's definitely has the suit on. He wears the Black Panther suit. I've seen him put that thing on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so I'm trying to think of other aspects of this movie that we can talk about. I mean, obviously we like the entertainment of it. It's very it doesn't have a lot of overstimulating dialogue, like like the conversations that are stupid and don't really matter take a minute, and then we just get right back to Steve Rogers beating up Nazis and shit.
Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't try to be some cinematic masterpiece that is all about writing and whatever.
Yeah, it's a Marvel movie.
It's a Marvel movie, yeah.
And it had constant action the whole time. You're either on the edge of your seat or you're enveloped by the explosions and ass kicking that's happening. It was perfect pacing throughout. Like it's just such a good movie overall.
Agreed. So like the writing, I would probably knock it a little bit. The characters are pretty good. I will add like Chris Evans. I just can't take him seriously when he has monologues. It's so funny to me. Scarlett Johansson, she's a pretty good actress. I think Anthony Mackie is by far the best actor in this movie.
He's incredible.
Even his like war story about his pilot friend that we don't even get a scene of. He's like, yeah, he died, and I was like, oh wow, I felt him say that. But then they pan to Steve Rogers, and he's just like looking.
He's like cross-eyed.
Yeah, it's like his fifth take. And they're like, Chris, you just can't smirk in this one, and he's like, and that's the whole scene. But it all plays. It plays. Steve Rogers is kind of like the meathead of the team. Of course, there's this banter between him and Natasha. She's the only chick on the team, and then Anthony Mackie is like the fun younger brother with like the cool toy, and his wings, like the Falcon suit. This is the first time we see it, and there's definitely a lot of lore watching this movie again, because there's things at the time we didn't know. Like people probably thought Bucky was dead. And that's probably like the one thing. Is that people thought Bucky was dead. So that was like a huge reveal when they showed that. Also, the cutaway scene at the very end of the movie is the beginning of Ultron, right? So
yeah,
this movie
with Wanda.
So does this like precede? This one precedes that movie, or was there another one in between?
I think it's I can't remember. Other movies came out before, so in between Winter Soldier and Civil War, I believe, but I can't remember if they actually like fall in line or you need to watch those to proceed with the story.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah. No, they just had like the little cameo of ATJ and Elizabeth Olsen, which I always find it cool going back and watching these big blockbuster movies or any just old movie that's successful. You see all these actors in like the most minor roles possible.
Yeah.
Like Elizabeth Olsen now is very, very renowned. I'd call her like a B or A-list actress, and at the time she's just playing a cameo in a Marvel movie. We also had the guy from Community. I don't know if you've ever seen Community, but one of the actors from that is just in. He works for Hydra or whatever, and like lets them in the building. So I don't know. I find that stuff's always kind of funny to me.
Yeah. No, definitely agreed. It's like when you watch old TV shows and you're like, wait, what the fuck? That actor's in it? Like Band of Brothers is filled with it.
Yeah. SVU. It's the best.
SVU, yeah. Lost.
Yeah. Just naming TV shows.
Yeah.
House of Cards.
The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Yep. iCarly. And yeah, so that's Captain America the Winter Soldier. I'm trying to think of anything else we can add to this.
The only thing I want to add is I'm hyped for the new Captain America coming out on February 14th, I believe, Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it's coming up.
February 11th, maybe. No, I'm tripping. No, February 14th. I was right.
Yeah, this will end my ban on going to see Marvel movies in theaters. The last one I saw was Quantumania, and that was really good. So I'm hoping that this precedes that.
Yeah.
I don't really understand
it can only go up from here, right? Like, I feel like Marvel is at the bottom of the barrel right now.
What was the last one they did? Like Eternals or whatever?
No. I might have been or maybe the Marvels movie or something.
I didn't see that.
I didn't either.
Interesting. Yeah, this is definitely the new one. The Brave New World? They're really hoping this one smashes. Obviously, they got Harrison Ford playing Red Hulk. We've got actual Hulk, I think.
I don't know. I don't know, actually.
It's in the cards, though, right? Mark Ruffalo is still under contract.
They have Robert Downey Jr. playing the Hulk in this movie.
Yeah. That'd be cool if he was in it. But no, yeah. You've heard this. So you've heard Sean and I talk about this movie a bunch of times. Winter Soldier, that is. I'm trying to think of other last things we can add to it. But overall, it's just one of my favorite action movies of all time, and you'd probably say the same.
Easily.
It holds up. It's very rewatchable. If you haven't seen this, I would definitely recommend it. There's not too many like fantasy superpowers in this movie either. Like Captain America is a pretty basic superhero where he's just really strong, and then like Black Widow and Anthony Mackie's character are not. They don't have any superpowers. So if you're one of those people, you know who I'm talking about. There are people that just don't like superhero movies, but they might watch Batman because it's somewhat more realistic. So
yeah,
in that aspect, Captain America does seem to have more realism versus like a Superman movie, or I don't know, like the Snyder cut Justice League movie or something where everyone just has godlike powers.
They're flying through buildings and shit, going at the speed of a bullet. I've said this about Winter Soldier before, and you touched on it right now. This movie is one of the best Marvel movies ever made, but it's also a fantastic action movie. You don't have to be a fan of superheroes or Marvel to watch this movie and enjoy it. Like, it all is pretty grounded, besides the fact that Captain America can jump from 25 stories up and land on a shield and be fine. Yeah. Outside of that, it's just action-packed. It's a basic kind of storyline. You see the twists coming, but overall, it's fantastic.
Agreed. So do you want to do scores whenever you're ready?
Yeah, let's do scores.
Wrap it up. All right, so I went 9-1 for entertainment.
I think this is the highest score I've ever given on a Ripe Avocados score, although outside of Madam Web. My entertainment score was a 9.5.
Damn.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm just putting them in my
one of my favorites,
calculator here. 9.5. All right, characters I went 6.5.
Characters I went 9.1.
Damn.
I love these characters.
Damn. It was like 15 points for Steve Rogers. I went 8.0 for cinematography.
Cinematography, I went 8.9. The fighting choreography is shot it way up.
Yeah. No, that's true. I think the music was just a little sound effects were loud at some points for me. It was like writing down notes. Like that was too loud for my liking.
My ears hurt
Then
a little bit.
Then writing, I went 7.5.
Writing, I went 8.5.
Okay. There you go.
I can't stress it enough. I love this movie.
So that is going to give us... My math is not that fast. Give me a fact that you like about Steve Rogers' physique in the first Avenger.
How massive his cock probably grew.
What do you think?
No, you know
What do
what's
you-
crazy? Wait, you know what's actually crazy? In this movie, I wrote it down in my notes. When Steve Rogers is at the Steve Rogers Museum, basically.
Yeah.
He just
He's
soaking
anonymous.
it all in. Yeah. He's like, fuck yeah, I need this. And he's watching the Peggy Carter interview, and she's talking about her husband that was saved by Steve Rogers, and like the tone she uses is just like, my husband sucks, but man, I miss Steve. Like,
Yeah.
and just imagine being the guy second to Captain fucking America.
Imagine being at the hospital and like witnessing him talking to 100-year-old woman who he had relations with. That's great. That scene's always nuts to me. Like, it's way too emotional for that movie, and I get they just threw it in for the fan lore or whatever, but it's
Yeah, with the dementia and everything, it's just heart wrenching. It's like,
fucking
God
weird,
damn.
man. It's like Interstellar, but way less sad because they just like didn't need to put Peggy in the movie. They could have just had her be dead in like
Yeah.
2008, and it definitely would have played. Would have still been sad.
Dude, I still can't get over how they're shading her second husband though, or her
Yeah.
husband. It's like, God damn. You know, in the bedroom, he's like, do I need to put on the Captain America suit again?
She has him dress up as him for Halloween like every year.
Yeah.
And it's like, for whatever reason, this day is one of my favorite days of the year.
Yeah.
Can't
He's
recreate
like,
nights like this.
he's like, I think I'm gonna go as Ghostface this year. She's like, no.
Put on the fucking shield. And with that, so that's our final score here. Finally did my math. We have an 8.4 of the Winter Soldier. All of our scores will be put on our website, which is linked in our bio here on YouTube, or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you get your podcasts, you can find it on that page as well in the description. Until next week, we'll be back with another movie to review for you guys. And thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and peace out.
Deuces.
I dream of the places I've been with you. How we sat with the stream flowing.